National productivity trends. At the beginning of this millennium, the United States remained one of the most productive nations in the world. At $65,900, its level of productivity, the value of goods and the services produced by each US worker, was the highest in the world. In second place was the Belgian workers who produced $64,200 per workers, followed by Italian workers who produced $61,700. For the period of 2000 to 2003, the US level of productivity was even higher, averaging 577,000 per worker. Growth rate of US productivity. Many observers treat productivity trends as indicators of national economic wealth. In the 1980s, for example, the United States suffered a slowdown in the growth rate of productivity. The annual increase in a nation's output over the previous year, productivity was not even increasing as quickly as it had in the past. Then, however, recovery began and it continued through 1990s. Stopped during the economic slowdown in 1999-2000 and increased once again in 2001-2004. While uneven growth in the manufacturing and the service sector. A comparison of the manufacturing service sector reveals important productivity differences in the service sector, but from 1978 to 1990, the service productivity averaged zero improvement. By the 1993, the service productivity once again on the rise, and the growth in the manufacturing productivity more than doubled that of the services through 2001, the year 2001. By 2003, the productivity growth was about the same for services and manufacturing. Thus, manufacturing remains a significant contributor to overall US productivity. In 2003, for instance, the value of goods produced by each US manufacturing worker was $159,000 compared with that of $73,000 for each service workers we saw earlier. However, services are growing faster than goods production and as proportion of all US business and now account for nearly 60% of the national income. Industry-wide productivity. Industries also differ usually, while the industries also differ vastly in terms of productivity. During the period 2000 to 2002, for instance, the productivity of computers, electronic production increased by 21%, while productivity of motor vehicle productions declined by 12%. In services, business to business electronic markets increased productivity by more than 39%, whereas the cable and pay television services fell by 8%. Let's consider the response of the US textile industry to recent competitive pressure. 2 decades ago, lower priced foreign labor uh, and the European innovations threatened to cripple the US textile industry. During the past decade, however, the US yarn and fabric makers have improved the productivity at an annual rate of 3.4% per year. The industry spends $2 billion a year on modernized equipment and the processes. And today's mills weave cloth 4 times faster than they did a decade ago. Fewer workers are needed as highly automated plants work around the clock with hardly any employees. New technologies consume 50% less water and energy than that which was outmoded processes. Company wide productivity. High productivity gives a company a competitive edge because its costs are lower than those of the competitors. Consider, for example, the recent turnaround by General Motors, which has uh, upped its share of the US auto market to 31% for the first time in 11 years. It outsold Ford Motors. The biggest improvement has been in the production of operations, where processes are both faster and better. Between 1997 and 2001, they have reduced labor hours and needed to build a car to 40.3 from 48.3. And the productivity gains allowed GM to trim prices, boost earnings by 30% for 2003, The company expects to boost earnings another 20% by 2005.